Testing.
Testing.
Change will never come if we're waiting for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we're waiting on. We are the change that we are looking for. Good evening, and welcome to the beautiful city of Riviera Beach. Welcome to the 2018 Riviera Beach City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Gerald Parrott, and I'm the president of the Black Village Voice. This forum is hosted by the Black Village Voice and our partner organizations, SCIU Florida, Unify, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and the National Pan-Hellenic Council. This event comes at an important time, at a critical juncture for the city of Riviera Beach. The next city council will be responsible for some of the decisions that affect our immediate future and our lives for some time to come. This city council will be responsible for key appointments like the police chief, city manager. This city council will have to address a failing infrastructure system, failing utilities, and failing facilities throughout the city. The citizens of Riviera Beach deserve safe neighborhoods. The citizens of Riviera Beach deserve a city government that fosters small black business development. Who is Unify? Unify is a nonpartisan political action committee that advocates for government activities that spur economic development in the local community and access the capital to black businesses here in Palm Beach County. Unify was started to support, but also hold accountable candidates and politicians who see our view, who understand that it is important in Palm Beach County to have small business development. Unify empowers through legislation, policy, and regulations that create black business development opportunities here in Palm Beach County. Our partner organizations have a will and a passion for our community just like we do. So right now, I'll allow them to come up and have a brief introduction. First up, we'll have the National Coalition of Black Women.
Good evening. In the presence of our president, who is on her way, I'm going to give greetings on behalf of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. My name is Anitra Moss, and I'm the first vice president. The mission of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women is to advocate on behalf of black women and girls to promote leadership and gender equality in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. Although we do not endorse any candidate, we want to ensure that the citizens of Riviera Beach have access to information so you can make informed decisions when you cast your ballot. Would all my NCBW sisters who are currently present please stand? On behalf of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, West Palm Beach Chapter, we thank you for coming to the forum this evening.
Would the representative from the National Pan-Hellenic Council please come?
He's coming in the door.
Good evening. My name is Orthnell Tino Cash. I am the president of the National Panhellenic Council. And just a very brief history about the NPHC. We were formed to be basically a collaborative effort between the Divine Nine, which is Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Phi Psi, Delta Theta Sigma, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, and Iota Phi Theta. If anybody's a member of any of these organizations, please stand up.
Omega Psi
Omega Phi Psi.
Phi. You said it a little different.
The core to all of our organizations is community service and just being active in our communities as a whole. So being here and having all these members here, I just want to stress to everybody to take back to your chapters that with the political climate now, we need to be as active as we can at the core, not just the national level, but at the local levels of our community to make sure things get done and things get moving. We, being active in our fraternities and sororities, actually have a base of people that we can reach out to that a lot of other people don't have. So we need to make sure we reach out to those people and get them to come out and get involved in all of the local political events that take place leading up to all of our local elections. So with that said, I'm just encouraging everybody to do their best and get out, get involved, and vote. Thank you.
All right, our other two partner organizations, Unify is a conglomeration of organizations that got together to have one voice and one message from several organizations, sort of like the spokes on the wheel of a tire. We all have different organizations, but we all come back to one point, hence that unified message. And then for our friends from SEIU Florida, oh, hold on, this is from Unify. Unify advocates for our Black community in Palm Beach County. Unify is a community-based coalition that's organizing around a platform of issues that really matter in our community. Preserving our community and its rich history, expanding educational opportunities and experiences, building community wealth, and strengthening neighborhoods. We call it Unify. All right, with that said, tonight I got to give you the small print. BVV is a nonpartisan political action committee. BVV endorses no candidates here tonight. We would please like you to not post any campaign material inside of the forum venue. Please be civilized and maintain decorum during this candidate forum tonight. There will be an audience question section, and we will have people passing out index cards for the audience to write their message on, and your message will be conveyed to the candidate. This whole venue, this whole forum was put together tonight to hear your voices. This forum will be recorded, and it will take a few questions, and we will take a few questions from the audience. If you're home and you have questions, go to the Black Village Voice Facebook page and type in your questions there. All right. Tonight's moderators for this forum are two distinguished attorneys from the Palm Beach County community. First up, we have John Howe. John Howe's a lifelong resident of Palm Beach County. He's the past president and first African-American president of the Palm Beach County Bar Association. He's practiced law in Palm Beach County for the last 20 years. He and his wife, Jamie, live in West Palm Beach. He is also a member of Omega Psi Phi. And our second moderator is LaWanda Warren, also another distinguished attorney from Palm Beach County. She's a Palm Beach County native. She's been practicing law in the county for 9 years. She's an assistant city attorney police legal advisor for the city of Delray Beach. She was previously assistant state attorney and assistant statewide prosecutor. Thank you. Immediate past president of F. Malcolm Cunningham Senior Bar Association, and immediate past president of Gamma Gamma Sigma, West Palm Beach Alumni Chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho. She's an FAU graduate and got her Juris Doctorate degree from Nova Southeastern University. Please, everybody give a round of applause for our moderator. John Howe now is going to review the rules and the means and methods of how we will proceed for tonight. Thank you, John.
It's long, but I'll stand in those great shoes.
Okay.
So I have some rules, okay?
Oh, okay.
So we have a timekeeper. Each candidate will get 2 minutes for an opening statement. The moderators, John Howe and myself, will then ask a series of questions to the candidates. We're going to do it in 2 groups. So we're going to do the first group first and then the second group.
District 2 first and District 4 second.
Correct. Each candidate will get 60 seconds to answer the question, and we will rotate who goes first, and then the next candidate will answer. There will be no rebuttal to the questions. However, each candidate will get a chance to rebut or comment on something they want to discuss previously during their closing argument or during the 60 seconds when they answer the next question. They will have 90 seconds for the closing statements. So just as some general housekeeping rules to the candidates and to the audience. Candidates, please pay attention to our lovely timekeeper over there. She will be presenting cards, giving you a countdown. We will stop you once your time is up. Don't talk while someone else is talking. Everybody has important things to say. Everybody has important platforms. And we want to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity to discuss whatever their platform is or to answer the questions. All comments are respectful, so please be respectful. No clapping or noise making of any kind during the question and answer portion. You can clap at the end of all of the closing statements. After that's done, as our facilitator here has discussed, you will have the opportunity to take down some notes on a note card. So raise your hand. He's going to do the note cards. You can give them to him, and then we will ask them after the closings. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so if we can have the candidates for the District 2 race come to the podium. Those candidates will be one Ms. Kashamba Miller Anderson and one Mr. Keith Golden. Please, thank you.
Good evening to each of our candidates. Ms. Kashamba Miller, or Ms. Miller Anderson, I'm sorry. And do you prefer Miller Anderson, the complete name? Okay. And also Mr. Golden, thank you for your candidacy. And we'll move into our first question. This first question deals with economic development in the city. As we all know, Riviera Beach is a city that encompasses a lot of diversity, but with that, there's also a lot of income disparities and also wealth separation. If elected, how would you attempt to tackle the vast disparities with income levels within the city? And I'll first direct. Okay, before we get to that first question, I'm informed that we neglected to allow you, before I got up, to give you, each of you, 2 minutes to briefly make a statement, an opening statement, and just generally introduce yourselves to the attendees here tonight and everyone who's watching. So, Ms. Miller Anderson, we will first go to you.
Okay.
2 minutes, and if we could be mindful of our timekeepers over
Are you
here.
going to hold something up? Okay. Well, there'll be 30 seconds and then 10 seconds. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kashamba Miller Anderson. I'm a lifelong resident of Riviera Beach. I was born and raised here in the Monroe Heights area. I have bought my first home over in Park Manor neighborhood, and I've been there since I was 24. I was educated here in the city of Riviera Beach from middle school at JFK as well as Suncoast High School, a very proud graduate of the class of 91. And I have my classmate sitting next to me here. And then I also attended elementary school, though, in West Palm because my grandmother was a teacher, so I had to go to school with her. Other than that, I probably would have been here and finished all of my years here in Riviera Beach. I currently am an assistant principal with the Palm Beach County School District. I've been with them for about 18 years. I've been a teacher, a reading coach. I also was co-owner with J.D. Anderson Construction for the past 8 years. I've been on the council since 2015, and basically my reason for being on the council and wanting to run again for the council is because there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. I run on a platform of integrity, open and honest, transparent governing, and then I also want to make sure that our residents have a voice. That's very important, that our residents have a voice, that I have an open ear, and I'm listening to what they want and making the best decisions and being very financially responsible with our cities and taxpayers' dollars. Again, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that my purpose in being here is only for the residents. And if I'm not going to be here for the residents, then I don't need to be here. So you want to vote for me if you want an open and honest, transparent governing and someone that is going to be listening to you and not to special interests. I have about 10 seconds, so I kind of short myself a little bit. But again, like I said before, it's very important for me that we remain transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller Anderson. Mr. Golden?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith Golden, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out today. I, too, am a lifelong Riviera Beach resident. I went to Riviera Beach Elementary, John F. Kennedy Middle School, Suncoast High School, and I did graduate in class of 1991 with the incumbent. I'm a married father of two. I've been with my wife for over 2 decades. We've only been married for 18 years, and from that union, we have a 21-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. I currently serve as a fire chief for the town of Palm Beach, where I made history, being the first African-American promoted to fire chief in the town of Palm Beach. The reason why I'm running for city council in Riviera Beach is really simple. You know, I was always taught, if you want to make a difference, make a decision. You know, I make an annual promise to myself to live, love, and leave a legacy. And unfortunately, with the things that's happening in the city, we won't have the opportunity to leave a legacy, not for our children. I have a daughter that attends FAMU that doesn't want to come home. And part of it is because of the leadership of this city and the way she feels that the city is being run. My goal is to move the city forward. Move the city forward with focus, give the city identity, give the city a vision, and give the city something that they can actually hold on to and make people, give them something to be proud of. I don't know about the special interest groups. I don't have any vendettas. I don't owe anybody anything, and I've really had a very comfortable existence here in the city. But I just chose to run for city council because I just feel, even though I'm not saying that the incumbent has done a horrible job, I just feel that we can do better, and I'm the better. So on March 13th, I asked you guys to vote for the golden opportunity to change the community and vote for Keith Golden.
Thank you both very much. And we'll suffice it to say that you both are familiar with each other and you're not new to town. So with that, the first question to the both of you. And I'll rephrase the question as I did a few minutes ago. We know that Riviera Beach is a diverse city, and with that, there's also a large disparity in incomes within the city. If elected, how would you attempt to tackle this vast disparity and even out the disparities in income that are seen in the city? And I'll direct that first to you, Ms. Miller Anderson.
Well, I would say that one of the things we could probably continue to do is put a little more effort into our trainings. We do have a number of educational institutions that we could partner up with, that we could do more, being that we have been unable to provide a training center within our own city, run by the city. We have the school district of Palm Beach County that has adult ed programs that we could partner with and be able to utilize them in terms of educating and training our residents for the jobs that we have here that pays very well. We do have many Fortune 500 companies here that have a very good wage, but we want to make sure that our residents are prepared so that they can take those positions and not have to sacrifice and just go for those lower paying jobs. So one of the other things is to make sure that we have a very good relationship with our business community, and then at some point, maybe they would be willing to reinvest in our community and provide the training that is needed. Thank you.
Mr. Golden?
Absolutely. In reference to economic development, I think that Riviera Beach should be an entrepreneurial incubator and allow for people to learn not only how to do certain jobs and to attain the knowledge, skills, and abilities, but to also give them the business aspect of that job. What I mean by entrepreneurial incubator is we have a lot of blighted houses in the city. So if we teach these people that are, that you say, you know, well, I'll call them economically disadvantaged. If we teach them how to put in sprinkler systems or how to do roofing or do things like that, we'll allow them to go out and fix up some of the blighted houses in the city. That way the city grows, they learn business acumen, and everybody gets to, it's a win-win situation for everybody. So I do believe in workforce housing. I do believe in small business loans, incentivizing the businesses, and whatever we can to walk them through the permitting process to get a business off the ground in this city. Thank you.
And I just have a quick follow-up to what you said, Mr. Golden.
Yes, sir.
As far as the fixing up of these houses, et cetera,
Yes, sir.
since you use that as an example, do you envision public or private funding for such a project?
Whatever funding we can utilize to get the project off the ground. See, at this point, we have a lot of homes with holes in the roofs, and a lot of elderly people can't afford to get them done. No one has done anything to address it other than levy fines and different things like that. I think that if we teach the people here that's in the city, say some of the street pharmaceutical sales reps, if we take those individuals and teach them how to run these businesses, they will be able to get out, repair a lot of these homes, and just bring the city up. And whatever funding we can get, whether it's governmental funding, private or public, I'm not opposed to either at this point.
And Ms. Miller-Anderson, in fairness, just if you would just briefly follow up on the programs that you referenced, do you envision public or private funding for those?
Well, which, as my opponent just stated, it would be, when I spoke of it, I talked about partnering up with existing programs, training programs that already exist, so that we're not having to spend funds 100% to support those training programs. Like I said, the Palm Beach County School District currently has adult ed programs, which talks about the different trades. And they also, if in terms of children, we have a YEP program, Youth Empowerment Program, that prepares and trains our young individuals on trades. So some of this we already have in play. Like I said, if we find ourselves in a position where we need to provide additional funding, I would be in support of either looking for funding from the state in grants or providing some sort of partnership with our businesses so that they could be able to give back as a community benefit.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We can all agree that Riviera Beach has not received the best press within the past year. There's been numerous articles regarding the termination of the city manager, regarding wasteful spending allegations, regarding water issues and building issues. If elected or re-elected, how would you work with the media to repair the city's image? And I'm going to refer this to Mr. Golden first.
Absolutely. I believe the media is pivotal in resetting the paradigm of the city and changing the imagery of the city. I think that the media needs to see this as a vacation destination and see it as the diamond that I see the city. And when I say I see the city as a diamond needs four things. A diamond needs pressure, diamond needs heat, diamond needs to be cut and polished. Riviera Beach has always been under pressure and heat. It's time to cut this diamond. It's time to polish this diamond, and I believe that back to his question, the businesses are come knocking at our door. They're going to want to come to this city. I think that if we bring the media along in every aspect and continue with the open and honest communication, continue with the transparency, continue with the things that allow them to look at our books at any point, I think that the media will get a different image of us, and that image will be portrayed instead of the city in turmoil.
Thank you. Ms. Kashamba Miller-Anderson.
Hi, yes. So I think the very first step will be to make sure that we're transparent. Many of the issues that we're seeing on the news at this point is mainly because, as a council, we have not been transparent. As a council, we have not demonstrated financial responsibilities in a very responsible way. I think once we start becoming held more accountable for what we're doing, make sure that individuals that are not doing the right thing are held accountable, and that we're transparent more than we have been in the past, I believe the image will begin to turn. And at that point, that's when we can make sure that we continue to put forth the positive things that are going on in the community, like a community leadership academy that's going on. We have students that are graduating at a very high level and attending schools, very Ivy League schools. So I think there's a lot of positives going on, but unfortunately, because there are so many negatives that's going on that needs to be corrected, we're going to have this issue. I think it can be changed, but we have to change first.
Thank you.
Now, for the next question, and we're going to alternate back to you, Ms. Miller-Anderson. It's been reported that the deficit that the city faces on its horizon is approximately $700,000. How would you balance the city's budget? And let me be more specific. If you could name 3 things that you would do to bring the city's budget into balance.
Okay, well, we definitely have to always have a balanced budget. We can't not have a balanced budget, but what I think we can do is possibly look at our budget, do a review of our budget, identify revenue streams that we have overlooked. I know we have a number of businesses that are out there that are not always renewing their business tax receipts. So we're losing some income just for the mere fact we have not had the manpower in place to go and track down those businesses that have not kept up their business tax receipts. We also have the Ocean Mall. We're looking at a parking study. We have the marina, where we have numerous times when we have individuals that are taking a cruise that park there. So we could capture some of the revenue from those particular streams so that we're able to bring that down. So you have revenue, you also have years of neglect of mismanagement of funds. We had an $800,000 OIG report several years ago. So I think if we have that accountability piece in place, we can make sure that our budget balances to an extent where we're not overspending. There are numerous areas that we can take a look at and try to trim the fat.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Golden, your opponent named 3 things, business tax receipts, Ocean Mall, Marina, getting revenues, additional revenues from those. What are your 3 ideas for bringing the budget into balance?
Well, we would definitely have to look at increasing our revenue streams and looking at recruiting applicable businesses to Riviera Beach. I believe Riviera Beach could be a very business-friendly community. So I would definitely like to recruit businesses, which would definitely help with balancing the books. Also, even if we had to look at just a quick fix, if we had to put, let's just say, parking meters at the Ocean Mall or where people come to enjoy the beach, if we have them pay 50 cents or 75 cents to enjoy that luxury at the Ocean Mall, I think that would bring in an additional revenue stream to the city. At the end of the day, the only way we're going to tackle a deficit and stuff like that, people have to feel safe when they come to the city, and in order to do that, we have to show them that we have the leadership and that we'll be financial stewards of their money and that we can manage the funds that are allocated to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, you both are very accomplished professionals in your own right. In light of the sexual harassment allegations against the city, the current Me Too movement in our country, and any other allegations of retaliation and a perceived income and job inequality in the city, how would you all manage to combat this issue, and what have you done in your current roles or past roles to assist with this? We're going to start with Mr. Golden.
Oh, absolutely. As a fire chief for the town of Palm Beach Fire Rescue, we don't have a lot of sexual harassment claims, but we have harassment claims, so we treat them all the same. And I will tell you, we have a zero tolerance, and I think the zero tolerance stems from the structure that we have. I think that Riviera Beach, because it seems that the sexual harassment was rampant in this city, there can't be the policies and procedures in place. If there are no repercussions, or the people didn't know who to go to or how to lodge a complaint. I think that communication is the key to everything. I think if we communicate with the individuals, let them know that we have an open door policy, and if you feel harassed, sexual or any other way, even religiously, I think you should be able to come to the supervisors. If you can't, you come to the council, and we'll help remedy that situation.
Thank you. Ms. Miller Anderson?
The anti-harassment and discrimination policy that we do have in place, couple meetings ago, I tried to bring it forth so that we could discuss how we could reinforce it. It exists. However, it's not being enforced. We had an environment that was built on retaliation and intimidation. And because of those factors, individuals did report it. However, they went unchecked, and no action was put behind it to rectify it. So we need to make sure that we have a city manager who is going to take the initiative to look into those claims along with the HR department and ensure that HR follows through and do what they need to do. It has not always been a safe environment. Because it has not been a safe environment, you have not seen people come because of fear of retaliation. That is one of the things that I've been trying to fight for, and I was fighting for that with our city manager to make sure that people are held accountable so that we don't have these issues. But if we can make sure that we have a city manager that's going to have an open ear and listen and make sure that our employees who are in positions to do something.
Time's up. Thank you.
Ms. Anderson, we're back to you for the next question first, or for the next answer. It's been reported that the city has suffered with various infrastructure issues and building maintenance issues. One of the issues, very specifically, that's come up in the past has been a water management or water crisis. What would you be planning to do to avoid any future water access crisis that the city has faced in the past?
Well, during the time in which we had the water crisis, we didn't know we had a water crisis. And that was mainly because those who were in positions did not disclose the information, nor did they disclose the information to the public. During that time, I made sure that I was up in the front and center and making sure that those who did not follow procedures and protocols as well as policies, they were held accountable. We have since hired a new water utilities director, and he understands the importance of making sure that our water is safe for our residents. So I think making sure that we have people, a city manager who's in position, who's going to make sure that those who are in position to keep our water very safe for us, we'll be able to we won't have any issues as we had a couple of years ago. We have an infrastructure that has been neglected over 20, 30 years, and so unfortunately, this council is now having to deal with those issues, and we are dealing with those issues. Our new utilities district director has about $30 million worth of projects that we're going to get moving, and we've already approved to get started on some of those as we stand now.
And can you elaborate for just maybe 10 seconds on that, on what do you have in place?
In terms of what, the accountability or the projects?
The project.
We've already done some assessments on which ones are in a severe need. We have approved a project to get busy with our our piping system, because it has severely been neglected for over 30 years. So we're in the process of looking at all of those areas and attacking those that need to be replaced.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Golden?
Yes, sir. Every city deals with infrastructure issues. Riviera Beach's infrastructure issues aren't unique, especially to someone in a saltwater environment, that we have. The pipes are aging, and they definitely need to be replaced, and that's why we have the once in sales tax that's coming back to the city that will be used for infrastructure repair. My platform has always been the same, to reinvest in our neighborhoods, to repave our roads, replace our water and sewer pipes with new sidewalks, new street lights, and landscaping. I believe once we make ourselves beautiful, the businesses and the people will come, and everyone will be proud of the city. And the way we're going to fix the infrastructure issues, we'll start off with the sales tax, that rebate that's coming. We'll utilize that. We'll repair the infrastructure and make the city safe again. As far as the water crisis, I wasn't here for the water crisis. I mean, living here, but I did not participate in it as she did. I do know that that was an issue that took place that shouldn't have took place, and I'm glad that this situation's been remedied up until this point.
Okay.
Although the city has made many improvements with regards to its law enforcement procedures and enforcement and combating crime, it has been argued that this is still an ongoing, reoccurring issue in the city. How would you work with the schools and law enforcement agencies to ensure that our community and children are safe? And this is two-part, and do you believe in outsourcing the police department or fire department? Mr. Golden.
Absolutely not. I don't believe in outsourcing the police or fire department. I currently work for a small fire department in the town of Palm Beach, and I just believe that we lose the hometown feel on people who know the city, know the residents, know and love them. Not saying that I would not look at it if it became an issue. I would definitely vote on legislation or whatever it needs to for it to happen, but I am not looking to outsource any portion of the city. I believe that we had that issue a long time ago with waste management when they came in with outsourcing, and a lot of people lost their jobs, and I just don't I don't believe in that. As it stands, Riviera Beach is growing, and the way we're going to do it is by making people feel safe, getting more boots on the ground, police and firefighters, increasing our public safety, and that's what I aim to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Miller Anderson?
One of the things that I have tried to advocate for is increasing our community policing. And with community policing, that is to have more bodies in the neighborhoods. I think when relationships are built, we can see where our residents will feel comfortable in speaking with their policeman who monitors that neighborhood. Being out on bicycles, being out on just walking the beat. I mean, that has occurred in the past, and I think that's a very good practice. That would help with the decrease of crime because you'll build relationships and be able to get trust back from the residents. Do I believe in outsourcing? No. Am I talking about outsourcing our police and fire? Absolutely not. That is one of the reasons why I was one of those who voted to increase the pay, because I think it's important that we retain our good police and fire so that they're not coming here, getting their training, getting that paid for, getting a very good experience while they're here and moving on to another agency. So I certainly do not support outsourcing of our local resources.
Thank you.
We want to follow up on that subject, and I'll try to ask a question because that kind of gives you an opportunity to answer more generally because we're getting low on time. Both of you mentioned an increased police presence in the neighborhoods to ensure better safety, and I think we'd all agree that there's a lot of press reporting about, various shootings and homicides around the city, a lot of which go unsolved. What ideas would you have, number one, given the budget challenges and et cetera, to get a stronger police presence on the neighborhood, in the neighborhoods, and/or the use of more technology, whether it's through video and camera equipment and/or body camera for police officers in the city. And that will first go to you, Ms. Miller Anderson.
Well, I was an advocate, and I've always been an advocate of body cams. I traveled to Tallahassee as well as Washington, D.C., advocating for body cams, and we've put money in the budget to have already started that process is in this current budget. So I certainly am an advocate, as well as I've listened to the police and I've listened to the residents in terms of them feeling safe, and that being and being able to help with the situations that may occur when you come across a very negative situation. At least you would have some sort of record from that. In terms of the community policing, as I stated before, I think it's important that we get more. What we're finding is because we do not have overabundance of police on the ground, it has made it very difficult for those to spend quality time in the neighborhoods. So I think that with having advanced technology, we have a very great relationship with the port, who have provided license plate readers, which helps identify who's coming into our city. That helps, it has helped a lot. We also have cameras that are stationed within different intersections throughout. We have our Safe One video system in the police department. So we utilize technology very much right now, but there's always room for improvement.
Mr. Golden?
Yes, I have to agree with her with the increased technology. I do know of a lot of technology that they're using. I'm a big advocate of the body cams, even drone technology for combating crimes in open-air drug markets. I do believe, though, that having police on the ground and in schools, just making meaningful relationships will be worth its weight in gold in this city. I do believe that that the police department, when they make a connection with a child and help them to be a good citizen, I think that'll work better for us. Understand this. No one wants to be poor, and even the drug dealers and people like that, they want hope, so we have to give them hope. And that's why I told you earlier about making Riviera Beach an entrepreneurial incubator, helping them get jobs. When they get good jobs, they make good money. You get good money, they get off the streets, and then we have not decrease the need for police, but to decrease the need for using them.
We have time for one question from the audience, and this deals with transparency. It is known that it was the intent of the former city manager to begin to put credit card expenses of the commissioners on the internet for the public viewing. Do you feel that this would be helpful to encourage and give the citizens competence in the commission, or confidence? Mr. Gordon.
Mr. Golden, I absolutely believe that would be a great idea, only because the city commissioners or the city council members feel that they don't have a boss. They don't understand that the boss are the people that's in this audience or the residents of this great city. They feel that the city funds is their open credit card to do whatever they want to travel where they want and do what they want. I think our city doesn't have the structure that it needs, or structure that it requires for them to be able to just have an open checkbook to travel and do whatever they want. So yes, if we put it on the internet, at least people can look at it and hold them accountable by picking up the phone and calling them and let them know that the residents are their boss and that there's no open checkbook for them to travel with them and their families to these different places.
Ms. Miller Anderson?
Yes, as I said before, my platform has always been about transparency. So the more transparent we are, I think the more we will build a relationship of trust with our community. I wholeheartedly support that. As everyone knows, that we do have a public records law that it has been in existence for many years. So all of our records are public records, whether it's our credit card statement, our travel log, our budget that we utilize in our legislative office. All of that is made available to the public. So at any point that is requested, I'm all for it. Again, Mr. Evans, I'm sorry, I hate to bring him up, but you mentioned the former city manager. He was putting things in place such as that to hold people accountable. And so I fully supported that. Again, I've always been about open government, as well as making sure that we're honest and open with our community and listen to our residents. So if our residents are saying we need to make some changes, I totally support that.
Thank you both.
I want to thank you both for your presence here and for answering these questions and providing this information to all of our attendees and viewers this evening. At this time, you each will have an opportunity to make a brief closing remark on your own behalves, and you'll have 90 seconds to do so. So we will begin with you, Mr. Golden.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today and listening to us. I'm all for economic development in the city, workforce housing, being an entrepreneurial incubator, and just moving the city forward. I got into this race because I felt that the city lacked four things. I felt that the city lacked focus. I felt that the city lacked identity. I felt the city lacked a vision and external relationships. With me at the helm, I believe that we can increase and improve on those four things. I think that we'll be able to move the city forward with purposeful movements and get out of the day-to-day politics and get back to running the city and making the city somewhere that everyone can be proud of. Vote for the golden opportunity on March 13th.
Thank you. Ms. Miller Anderson?
I just want to take the second to thank you all for having this opportunity to speak before our residents. I do want to make sure I put this in here before I forget. I am very married as well as a mother of 2 adult sons. I left it out in my opening, and I don't think I can leave here if I don't put that in there. So I want to make sure I address that. Also, I want to let everyone know that I've done the work. I'm looking to continue the work that I've already done, having town hall meetings, being a member for over 5 years of our Park Manor Neighborhood Association. I've been a very active member of our Palm Beach County Democratic Executive Committee. I've been the precinct leader in our neighborhood. I've done the work. I've done the community work. I've been with the League of Women's Voters as well as the Voters League of the Palm Beaches. I've been there. I've been around. I didn't just come. I've been here. Also, while I've been in office, I've built a very good relationship with our education system where we're having we've been doing this for over a year and a half now, where we've had collaborative meetings with our business community. I have been there when in terms of trying to make sure that we have funding available for our library. I provided funds for that through our waste management community benefits. I provided money to assist with our nonprofits so that we could help our community residents. So I've done the work. I've been doing the work. I was doing the work before I became a council person. I did the work while I've been a council person, and I want to stay in office to continue what I've done and to make sure that I continue to be transparent and hold everyone accountable so that we do not have the issues that we have experienced over the past 6 months. Again, my name is Kashamba Miller Anderson, and I ask for your support on March 13th. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you, candidates. We'll have a brief 3-minute intermission while we prepare for District 4's candidate forum.
The microphones are live, so please be careful.
Does this chair go up any? Oh, it does. Do me a huge favor. Tell me how to make this chair higher. I'm vertically challenged.
Okay, please, can we take our seats, please? Can we take our seats, please? Okay, for our District 4 race, we have Julia Botel and Don Pedro.
Pardo. Pardo.
Padro.
Pardo. Or as we say in Miami, Pardo.
Pardo, okay, we will work on that and we'll have it right, I assure you.
It's not hard.
I know that you were both present, and so you got to hear the ground rules, so we won't waste time going over those again. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and give each of you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. Like I said, you'll have 3 minutes to do so. Our timekeeper is off to my right. She will give you a 30-second warning, a 10-second warning, and then a time expiration. So at this time, we will start with the incumbent, Ms. Pardo.
Pardo.
Pardo. Okay, if you would go ahead, 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Pardo, and I have been your councilwoman since 2008. I moved to Riviera Beach with my family in 1994. We purchased a house over on Singer Island in Yacht Harbor Manor, and we have been there ever since. I have one daughter, 24, who went to school with many of your children, and I am a widow. I've been a widow since 1999. So I've been very involved in Riviera Beach for probably 2 decades. I served the city of Riviera Beach on the Riviera Beach Zoning Board of Adjustments. I am a co-founder of the Citizens for Responsible Growth for Riviera Beach. I formed the Public Beach Coalition when the city, back in the early 2000s, decided that they were going to sell the land and put condominiums on the beach. And I fought that battle and we won, and now we have a great tourist destination over at the Ocean Mall. I also fought the eminent domain battle with many of you that live on the east side of Old Dixie Highway, or President Barack Obama Highway, when 5,200 homes were going to be taken by eminent domain. I was out there fighting the fight with many of you. I have fought for a lot of things in the city, and I would like to continue the work that I've done on the city council. I spearheaded the redevelopment of the Riviera Beach Marina. When I ran in 2008, that was one of my main focuses, because the residents of Riviera Beach were subsidizing the marina. We had found out that only 2 residents in the city kept their boat there, but we were all, as the taxpayers, subsidizing the marina. I would like to see the marina completed. I would like to see workforce housing in the city. That's an initiative I've been working on. I've been working with the children in Riviera Beach for a long time, and I would like to continue working with them also. Unfortunately, a couple of council people decided to close the Riviera Beach Maritime Academy, and if you know me, you know that I fought to bring a lot of the marine businesses into the city of Riviera Beach, knowing that they provided high-paying jobs, and the Maritime Academy was providing the training for them. So I'd like to continue working with our youth and continuing to redevelop our city.
Thank you, Ms. Pardo. Now, understand that your title is doctor?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Dr. Botel, if you would please go ahead and introduce yourself. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Julia Botel, and I want to start by saying that I'm not a politician, and I think that's maybe a good thing. My candidacy is based on change, and if you don't see a need for change, then I'm not the candidate for you. But if you do, I'm the candidate who will bring about a much-needed change.
And yes, I have a doctorate. It's in leadership. And I'll give you a little bit of background about me. My husband and I bought in Riviera Beach and Singer Island in 2000, and we've lived here permanently since 2009. This is my only home. I don't own anywhere else. My grandchildren and children love to come visit me here, I'm happy to say, because they're up in New York where it's cold. I have a lot of experience with large organizations, both in the private and the public sector. In the public sector, my last position was as deputy superintendent of a very large school district. We had a $143 million budget and 1,200 employees, and a lot of dysfunction when I first got there. Excuse me. In the private sector, I worked for Apple Computer for a number of years as a senior executive, and I also own my own small business in East Hampton, Long Island. I want to tell you a little bit about why I'm here and why I got into this. I did get into this initially because of the firing of the city manager. It was done without due process. It was done in a way that I would never have condoned. That's not the only reason I'm in it, though. People say, oh, you're a one-issue candidate, and that's simply not true. As I begin to see what's been going on in Riviera Beach, I see more and more things that I'd like to have changed. And I think, again, I'm the person who can make that change happen. 4 of the major things that I want to see changed are, we must hire qualified people in this city and then let them do their jobs. It's not the function of city council to do the work, the day-to-day work of the city. We've got to hire people who are able to do that work and then let them do their jobs. The second thing is I want city council to be more pro-business. We need to reduce the chaos in government, in permitting, and paperwork that exists now, and I have a plan to do just that. The third thing is I want to reduce wasteful spending in the city. I'm really appalled at the amount of wasteful spending on the part of the council. One small example is that $12,000 stipend they gave themselves for sitting on one extra meeting a month on the utility district. I think that's a tremendous waste of money, and there are many other areas that I would want to look at in terms of reducing waste. And the final thing is we have to be more transparent in city government. We have to eliminate those closed-door meetings and secret deals. Change is what we need, and change is what I can bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Botel. I'm going to go ahead and pose the first question, and it's one that we're posing to all of the candidates. As we all know that there's been a great deal of negative press as to the inner workings of the city and its council. If elected, how would you work with the press to repair the public's, to repair the city's public image? And for that, Ms. Pardo first.
Thank you. Up until the manager was fired, the former manager was fired, we had a fairly well relationship with the press. Up until the firing of Tony Brown, we were the darling of the press. The press was telling our story, and they were telling the good part of our story. And once the firing happened of the manager, then things got very political when you have elected officials calling the press and giving them, you know, a lot of nonsense. It's very difficult for the press to, you know, see beyond the nonsense. So what really needs to happen, once we get a manager back on board, we need to continue telling the good side of the story and not the ugly side. There's so many good things in this city. There are so many good people in this city.
That's time.
Thank you.
Dr. Botel?
Well, you don't repair an image until you repair what's inside. You don't repair the gloss on the outside. You can't make it look good if it's not good from the core. And so I have a lot of experience working with the media. When I worked for Apple Computer, I started as a marketing support rep, and I had a lot of chance to work with the media there, and also as a school district administrator. I had lots of experience working with the media, and I can tell you what the media wants is to tell the truth. Nothing more. They want to keep the public informed. That's their job, and our image will improve when we improve.
Thank you.
Before we go to the next question, I just wanted to remind the audience to keep the comments until the end, after the closing remarks. Thank you. So Dr. Botel, you talked about your change platform. Ms. Pardo, you discussed some of your accomplishments as while you were sitting on the commission. But one of the most important things to move forward in any organization is to address issues where you've been lacking. So if you could discuss 2 of the city's biggest failures within the past 2 years, and what would you do to correct them or move forward from them? So I'm going to address this to Dr. Patel first.
Well, the biggest failure, I'm so sorry, the biggest failure is not hiring qualified people to do the work. I'm very sorry. And when you hire qualified people, then allowing them to do the work for which they were hired and not interfering. I think that's number one. We have to hire a qualified, and I mean highly qualified city manager. We cannot lower the bar, as City Council attempted to do at the last meeting, for this city manager position. We have to find someone who has lots of good experience, who is extremely well qualified. That's the most important thing we can do. Secondly, I think, is to be more transparent. People want to know exactly what's going on in government. They don't want people to have backroom deals and closed-door meetings. I love the idea of having the council present their spending on the webpage so that everyone knows what's being spent and what it's being spent for. Thank you.
Ms. Pardo?
The city manager was the first thing. Yes, we need to hire a qualified manager. When the former manager was hired in February of 2017, I did not vote for him. Another council person did not vote for him. There were more qualified individuals.
So what can we do to address that issue?
Hire a qualified manager. First and foremost, we need a leader in this city. We need a leader to move the city forward. So the first thing would be a qualified manager. And the other thing that we lacked, that was the second part of your question, it was really the closing, which I believe is the closing of the Maritime Academy. We speak all the time about education and our children, but when you had a chance to train the children in for a trade where they make a lot of money.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Botel, it has been reported and shown that in the city of Riviera Beach, the city's sales and property taxes, particularly the property taxes, are the highest, if not at least one of the highest of any other municipality in Palm Beach County. And obviously that poses a challenge to property owners within the city. What would you do, or first of all, share your opinions on that, and please tell us what you would do to lower property taxes, that is, if you see that as a problem.
I do see it as a problem. I pay those high property taxes, and many of my neighbors on Singer Island are not happy with the fact that they bear 42% of the burden of that tax problem. But I do want to say one quick thing about the hiring of a city manager, because you said that I could speak about that topic when my next time came. And I want to point out to you that Riviera Beach picked a city manager without an interview, and then he quit. Just a little bit of information about the prior history of hiring of a qualified city manager by the current council of Riviera Beach. They're not really looking too closely at people's backgrounds when they hire someone who is not appropriately qualified. In any case, back to the budget. I think that we need to do a number of things. We've got to cut the wasteful spending that's going on. We spend an awful lot of money on things that we don't need in this city, including, I might add, the legislative budget, which for District 4, which is the district for the seat for which I'm running, the general fund expenditures went from $91,000 in 2015 to $119,000 in the 2018
Thank you, Dr.
budget.
Botel. Your time's up. Ms. Pardo?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, the question was, it pertained to the sales and property taxes in the city, and the fact that they are the highest, if not one of the highest of any other municipality in the county. First of all, do you perceive that as a problem? And to that extent, what are you prepared to do about that problem?
Yes, I see it as a problem because I too pay pretty high property taxes. But please know that the former manager was proposing an additional tax on the Singer Island residents. He wanted them to pay for their beach renourishment. He wanted them to pay for policing and neighborhood improvements. So that would have been an additional tax on top of them. So I think we need to keep that in mind too. What can we do? There's a lot of things we can do. I'm also a realtor, just so everyone is aware. And it's very difficult to sell a property when the tax rate is 8.4 mils, but when I came into office, it was 8.99. So I have a record of decreasing our millage rate twice while keeping our all of our employees and raising salaries.
Thank you.
We know that in other surrounding neighborhoods, we have the opioid epidemic. We also have crime issues still ongoing in the city of Riviera Beach. Where does crime fit in your level of priorities? And we're going to start with Dr. Botel.
Crime fits very high in my level of priorities. I hear constantly from people that we need more police, that we need to have a better presence, more community policing, and I completely support the idea of more community policing and more boots on the ground. I'm happy to say that I was recently endorsed by the PBA, and I trust the men and women of the police department in this city. They need good leadership, as we all do, and I think with good leadership, they'll be able to get the job done. I asked gun control issues are huge for me. I begged the city council at the last meeting to pass a resolution to put pressure on our state lawmakers to pass an assault weapons ban in our state. I will support schools and police departments and law enforcement everywhere as they work to make our streets safe for our citizens.
Ms. Pardo?
Police and all of public safety has always been my #1 priority. All right, I went to Tallahassee and Washington and went back to Washington twice. The first time to advocate on behalf of the body cams. The second time I went up to find out why we did not get the grant. And after 4 hours of meeting with DOJ and having them tell me what I needed to do to get those funds, we did it. And I was successful in bringing those body cam dollars back to the city. I can tell you this, for 10 years, for longer than that, I've been fighting to try to get more police officers hired in the city of Riviera Beach. I was the one that brought up putting police officers on bicycles, okay? And I also supported the SRO. We have school resource offices now in the Riviera Beach schools because of my leadership.
Thank you.
And just FYI, there are some questions coming in, and I've previously asked about the property taxes, and each of you have mentioned that you live in Singer Island District 4, and there are questions coming in via social media from some residents of District 4, and essentially they do largely reference property taxes and, among other things, what are you going to do for us? So I want to fashion this question to the both of you. Obviously, property taxes are a major source of revenues for any municipality. And if you're going to lower taxes in one area, you have to establish other sources of funding from other activities. So I want each of you to answer the question and list 3 alternate sources of funding or revenues that you would be prepared to pursue to pay for a decrease in property taxes if there was going to be one. So I'll start with you, Ms. Pardo.
Property values, like I said, have always been an issue for the residents of Singer Island and also for our businesses. The businesses pay a lot of taxes. We were able to decrease our millage rate twice because of the increase in businesses in the city, all right? Up until a year or two, the city of Riviera Beach was known as the most business-friendly city in Palm Beach County. And for whatever reason, things changed, councils changed, and they didn't go that way. What I believe wholeheartedly is we can continue reducing our property values, our millage rate, if we bring new businesses in. That is the key. New businesses bring new tax revenue. That's the key.
Dr. Botel?
I absolutely agree that new businesses bring new tax revenue. That is absolutely the thing that we have to do. However, at the moment, business is afraid to come here. Frankly, it's almost impossible to do business in this city the way things are structured. There is no clearly defined procedure for businesses to get involved in doing work here in the city. You come in and it's go here for this application, go there. There's nothing in writing. There needs to be a process. When I'm elected to City Council, I will be sure that the Business Development Office establishes a clearly defined written process for doing business in the city of Riviera Beach. Businesses don't like risk. I've been in business. It's not a good place to be when you're looking at a city in turmoil as we are. And so I want to change that image and have businesses come here to lower the taxes.
Thank you.
You both just discussed the importance of bringing new businesses to the community and the importance of business development. How important is it to you all that when you are seeking businesses and bids from different companies that there is a high rate of minority owners as well as employees? And do you, in the industries such as the legal field or construction industries, and should it be a part of the award that they hire community members or residents of the city? Dr. Botel. Thank you. Botel.
Yes, it's interesting you asked that question because there was quite recently, as recently as 2 days ago, I think, an article in the paper that said the county may return to race and gender-based contracting. Now, the county has done a study on this and identified that there are large gaps that still exist in the number and value of county contracts awarded to women and minority-owned firms. I'm sure that's got to be the case here in Riviera Beach, and it's something that I would want to look into immediately. You know, I think there needs to be a higher level of trust on the part of the community for the city's procurement processes. I think we need to review the procurement policy and make sure that it is all-encompassing. I think we need to begin to, we need to do, and probably with advice from the county, our own disparity study to see exactly what the situation is. And then once we do that, we need to move to correct it. So we need to keep once we correct it, the council needs to keep a hands-off policy with regard to establishing new businesses.
Thank you. Ms. Pardo?
Thank you. So under my leadership for the past 10 years, we have been making sure that there is or has been local participation in city jobs, in city construction jobs. And we just completed phase 1 of the marina development, a $35 million development where we had 47% SBE. We had 19.56% of minority and women businesses. And we had almost 31% local participation. We also changed our procurement to make sure any project over $750,000 that the local apprentices in the city of Riviera Beach get part of that job. So, and the council 2 weeks ago approved another study through the CRA to make sure phase 2. So
Thank you.
I've been very involved in it.
This question came in from the audience, but I'm going to take the liberty of rephrasing it so that it's fair to both candidates. It's a well-known fact and a historical fact that the city of Riviera Beach has always been a majority African American and minority city, and it has a large section of it has the challenges that come with that, including economical challenges. So this pertains to the children, as far as giving the children of the city the best opportunity to achieve success. And I'll style the question respectively to both the incumbent and the challenger. What have you done, if you could list 3 things that you've done to ensure or improve the chances of success for the children of the city of Riviera Beach, and or what will you do if elected to improve the chances of success for the children of the city of Riviera Beach? First, you, Ms. Pardo.
Thank you. So prior to being elected to the council, I started a toy drive knowing that there were children in this city who didn't experience a Christmas. I started that 14 years ago, and it's been very successful. Every year, I give funds to our youth empowerment program so they can take children during the spring break on college tours around this, not just around the state, but around the country. All right? Children need to have that experience. I've had a reading program for many years where I've been able to put thousands of books inside homes of children here in Riviera Beach. You would be surprised how many homes don't have any books. In a,
You have 10 seconds, go ahead.
Okay. And I have also been a big supporter with, I'm sorry, my time's up. Thank you.
Dr. Botel.
Thank you. I love this question. I have given most of my life to helping children like those in Riviera Beach. As a school district superintendent, deputy superintendent in Harrisburg, I dealt with children who were very, very much like the kids we have here. Even before I started to think about, before I got convinced that this was a good thing, this running for city council, I began to work with the children at Lincoln Elementary School. Our building, the Tiara on Singer Island, adopted Lincoln a few years ago as a place that we thought we could begin to make some changes, positive changes for kids. We've done essay contests for the kids, particularly around Christmas time, to find out what kinds of things they needed for themselves and their families. And I'm really proud of that work that we've done. But I think in the future, what I want to do as city council person is to really partner very closely with the school district of Palm Beach County and see that we have the right kinds of programs in place so that our kids can graduate, go to college if that's what they want to do, and get great jobs. Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, if you could just lastly give us a 90-second closing statement. Dr. Botel?
Thank you. I'm going to close the way I began. If you're looking for someone who's going to be a change agent for this city, you found the right candidate. I've been a leader in difficult situations before, and I've succeeded in bringing about improvements. I have a background in being able to turn around distressed organizations. I know how to do it. I've done it before. It won't be easy, but I know I can do it again. I'm also accustomed to working with racial and political differences. There isn't anyone running for city council right now who can tell you that everyone in this room will get everything they want. No one can promise that. It's going to be hard, and we're going to have to make some difficult decisions. But I have the backing of many, many people on the mainland, as we call it, and on Singer Island. And that will be necessary, that backing and that support will be necessary to bring about the change that's got to get done. Change is what we need, and change is what I can provide. Please take a look at my webpage, which is Botel for City Council, and my Facebook page, Dr. Julia Botel. And please vote on March 13th. Thanks.
Ms. Pardo?
Thank you. So again, I'm Dawn Pardo. I have been your councilwoman for the past 10 years. During my tenure, I was I was here when we had the Great Recession, and I am happy to say we did not, contrary to what our city manager wanted to do, we did not fire any employees. None. Not one employee was fired because of the recession. I have been in leadership roles throughout the nation representing the city of Riviera Beach. I have a proven track record. I am the person who is advocating on your behalf in Tallahassee and in Washington, and I am the one bringing back the funding. I am the one who has been out there spearheading the redevelopment of our city. I am the one that convinced the council to tax some marina dollars so we could start making infrastructure improvements in our neighborhoods. And there are projects going on in every district in the city right now. From road repairs to sidewalks to lighting, there's a lot going on in this city. And, you know, my record is there. Everyone knows what it is. And like I said earlier, you've known me for 24 years. All right, I fought the eminent domain fight with you. I've been out there fighting with you the entire time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Check. Okay. Wow, thank you. Thank you, Riviera
right.
Beach City Council, District 4, Dr. Botel, Miss Pardo. Thank you. One more time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to also thank our moderators for this evening. I'd like to thank John Howe and LaWanda Warren. Thank you. You guys did an excellent job. We just had Chuck, not just in, Chuck really joined us a long time ago, but I'd like to have him come up and touch base with you guys and explain the mission of SEIU and further explain the mission of Unify to you. Chuck Ridley, please.
Thank you. I want to, once again, let's give all the folk who were a part of tonight a round of applause. What a good job. I have the privilege of being the chair for Unify. That includes a plethora of organizations and individuals. Unify has a very simple mission. It's to build power for black people and black communities. And we do that unapologetically. And we're all throughout the county with a very simple focus. And we call it the New Deal for Palm Beach. It's a 4-point plank that we look at. The first plank is how do we make sure that we preserve our communities and our community heritage. And given the mission that I shared about you, you know which communities I'm talking about. Because the same challenges that you face here in Riviera are faced in Delray Beach, are faced in Boynton, are faced in West Palm Beach, and are faced on the Glades. And we want to make sure that we develop in a way that don't gentrify and displace the very residents that live there. The second plank is that we want to expand educational opportunities, all for sure for our young people so that they can be prepared for the world that they're going to see, but also for the adults so that we're making sure that they're making competitive wages for the world that they already currently exist in. And the third is to build community wealth. And I mean, we want some millionaires coming out of our neighborhoods, and it ain't gotta be just from basketball and football. No problem with that, but we want to have millionaires come from our neighborhoods, which means that there's got to be changes in how dollars are procured, fairness and equity, so that we are able to have the resources we need for homes and businesses. And then lastly, we want to strengthen our neighborhoods to make sure that we are not only safe, but that our citizens' civil rights aren't violated. That only happens if we become and build our civic muscle. And that's what tonight is about. So thank you, Black Village Boys, for the work you do. See, these elections, including the ones you have in here, are going to be won on the thinnest of margins. 200 votes. In fact, I'm not sure, but there was one city where they kept recounting.
You're here, Mr.
Over it. So, our voices matter. Our votes matter. And so this opportunity to hear from your elected officials is so that we make sure that the power of the people becomes stronger than those who sit in the seats of power. It is time for us to make the change. So thank you for coming out.
Chuck Ridley, everybody. Before we depart this evening, I'd like to show welcome and appreciation to those elected officials who decided to participate and come to this event tonight. I see Thomas Masters is in the house. Mayor Thomas Masters, thank you for coming. I see Commissioner Terrence T.D. Davis is in the house. T.D., thank you for coming. Of course, Mrs. Anderson is did I miss anybody? Is anybody else here an elected official? Oh, our current. Oh, she left. Who? Okay. All right, thank you. On behalf of you, on behalf of the Black Village Voice, on behalf of our partner organizations, SEIU, the National Coalition of Black Women, the National Panhellenic Council, and Unify, we appreciate you coming out to our candidate forum. Have a good evening.